Hi readers, welcome back to my channel, Books, Ink, and Paper. I'm Lori, and today I'm starting a new series that I will probably do monthly or at least frequently, and it's called To Read or Not to Read. I am thinking about the books I hauled, of course, in 2019, and the books that I'm not reading in 2019 and haven't read for several years, actually, prior to 2019. And so in an effort to really start the year off with a nice decluttering, and we are doing that in many spaces in our home, I'm taking a look at some of the books that it's pretty obvious I need to consider whether or not I'm going to read them or not read them. And some of them may end up being books I've read, but am I going to keep them? So I'll probably do 5 or so a month and just kind of go over them, look through them, think more about them, and then decide if I'm going to hang on to them or if they're going to go to either the Little Free Library, or our library doesn't take a lot of used books anymore because they're actually selling them on thrift books, which a lot of libraries are. So they'll either go to the Little Free Library or they'll go to Goodwill, I guess, or somewhere where people are looking for books. Little Free Library is my first choice. So let's get started. So the first two actually were given to me last year. J.D. Robb's compilation of 4 all-new paranormal stories. She wrote them with Mary Blaney, Ruth Ryan Langan, and Mary Kay McComas. I never did take a look at this at all. And so there is a little short story, an in-depth short story. And it says there's a seductive criminal that Eve Dallas hunts down, and it's a vampire. And a girl visits a Scottish castle. She's thrust into a timeless romance with a mighty Highland laird. I've never read J.D. Robb. I've never read any of these other women, so I'm probably going to unhaul that. I'm probably not going to read it. I haven't read it in a year, and I'm probably not going to read it. And then another one, sort of not a sequel, but another one. This is really in good shape. This is Suite 606, which is also apparently the same authors. Mary Blaney investigates a ghost magic coin, a deliberate deception that has kept 2 lovers apart for years. Eve Dallas plunges into the violent aftermath of a ritualistic murder and into the mind of an alleged witness who can't remember a thing to save his life. Lost man out of a pounding storm into the arms of a welcoming woman for a breathtaking twist of fate, and a mother and son lost in the threads of history, and an impaired wizard who must return them to their own world to fulfill his own destiny in time. Probably not going to read that either. It isn't pulling me like to save it. All right, the complete or the collected stories of Colette. I got this. There's Colette. It's a bind up. It's really big. It was compiled, edited, and introduced by Robert Phelps. So there was a reason that I got this, and I remember getting it because I had just read a book in which Colette was discussed, and that may have been the 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Evelyn. The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I think that's where they talked about Colette. Because at least one of her books was made into a movie. I don't know. I remember seeing it somewhere, and I went to the book fair, and there it was. And so I'm looking at these stories, and I'm looking at the size of the print. They're translated, I think, from the French. No. No, I don't see myself reading the collected works of Colette. Another book I picked up at the book fair last year or the year before is Lyrics of Sunshine and Shadow, by Eleanor Alexander, which is nonfiction, the tragic courtship and marriage of Paul Laurence Dunbar and Alice Ruth Moore. On February 10th, 1906, Alice Ruth Moore, a strange wife of renowned early 20th century poet Paul Laurence Dunbar, boarded a streetcar, settled comfortably into her seat, and opened her newspaper to learn of her husband's death the day before. Love letters, diaries, journals, and autobiographies helped this author compile all of this information. Alice was from New Orleans, I think. It says it's a remarkable story of tragic romance among African-American elites struggling to define themselves and their relationships within the context of post-slavery America. Okay, I am intrigued by this one still. It's not long. Goodness, it has a huge index. It has a huge bibliography. It's got notes for chapters. It's really well done. So that might have just kind of made me say, oh, I don't know. It's a lot. It's 179 pages for all of its real true content. I'm going to hang on to this one. I think it's possible that I will get to this one at some point. And I've never even pulled off the library cover, so I'm going to do that. And because it just makes them look prettier. And then number 5 in my decision making is Watch Me Die by Erica Spindler, which was also it's interesting. These were my book sale purchases in many cases. The first 2 were not. And so I read this year. This was the first book I'd read by Erica Spindler, and I enjoyed it a lot. I liked her writing, and it was a great story set in New Orleans, but I don't know that I would ever reread it or need to keep it. So I'm going to unhaul it, and I'm probably going to read more Erica Spindler. So there's that. So it's not, or do I want to keep it because I might buy more of hers and want to have them all together? See why these videos are so hard for us who feel like these are our babies. I'm going to hang on to it for a few months and see what transpires. And if I feel led to collect more Erica Spindler novels and I want to have more of a set, I will keep it. And if I don't, I'll look at it again I'll make a note to look at this again in June. Yeah. So I'm going to keep it for now, but I'm going to take a look at it again in June. So of the 5, I'm going to unhaul 3, which isn't bad. 3 is good. And I have a bunch that I am going to consider this year because I've already been kind of looking and thinking about that. So it's going to be a good project for me, really. I'm sure of it. Thanks for joining me on my To Read or Not to Read series, episode 1, if you will. And I hope you are also doing some decluttering and deciding about what to keep and what not to keep. And if any of these feel like something that you want to pick up, then, let me know if you do that. Take a look. Have a great day. Happy reading. Bye.